everybody, I'm Delicia. Thanks for stopping by the Cigar Vixen channel for another exciting review. This time I'm going to be smoking the Black Bird Idalia 108. Couple things on this one. One, it came in my most latest unboxing Privada Cigar Club. So if in case you missed that video, you can check out what other cigars were in there. And I would think by now the majority of you are Privada Cigar Club members. They're a fabulous club. I talk about them often, and I know there's a lot of you that, again, with your comments and your different posts, I can see that you are also part of this fabulous club. And for those of you who may not yet be a part of it, you can also jump onto their website, as they have added the lovely feature of single sticks that you can order directly from their site. So this may or may not be one of them. Unfortunately, I did not check to see that. I should have, I'm sorry. But you can definitely check out the Privada Cigar Club website and see if this one is available. Those things change from time to time. This particular cigar I found very interesting. I'm also getting ready to celebrate my grandmother's 100th birthday. She is awesome. She's still going full and strong. And this one, again, with the 108, this is a commemorative cigar, and you know how much I love those. This is what caught my attention, you know, about this particular cigar. This is a commemorative, kind of an homage, if you will, to the grandmother of the gentleman who founded Blackbird. And she lived to be 108 years old, hence the secondary, or third rather, name here on the bottom of the band. 108. She smoked a cigar every day and lived to be 108. So love stories like that. I found that to be pretty exciting, and I love anything that ties that family history back. So I did do a full read-up of this cigar that came with that beautiful description that Brian does in every Privada Cigar Club box. But let me just go over it briefly. Again, so we have the Blackbird Cigar Company, which is the company that brought us the Fast Eddie and the Rio. The Rio, by the way, I did a pairing for Easter. Loved that cigar. So this one, there was only 10,000 that were made, and Privada has most of those in stock. So again, you should be able to find this cigar if you did not receive it yet in your box, which probably the majority of you, if you're watching and you're members, you probably have this cigar, so you may or may not have already smoked it. I will let you go ahead and pause the video if you would like to light this one up and smoke it along with me. That would be kind of fun. But here we go. So we have that she is the grandmother of the two brothers that started the company. She lived to be 108 and smoked at least one cigar every single day. Here we go. So the actual details on this particular cigar, it's a 6x54 box press Toro, and it's a Mexican San Andres wrapper over a Brazilian binder, Dominican and Nicaraguan fillers. And the company says that the Dominican tobaccos were grown by none other than Hochi Blanco. So very nice. He's another definite figurehead in the industry as far as being known for growing some fabulous tobacco, blending fabulous tobacco, fun stuff like that. He has a very extensive history. So the cap is a style of a hybrid. It's almost like a rectangular shaped parejo cigar, but it has the characteristics of a belicoso. So you can kind of see that. To be honest, I probably would not have caught that without reading that. I wouldn't have even given it a second look. It does resemble that now that they bring that up, which is kind of cool. And then again, I like the box pressed. Let's see. And then I'm going to go ahead and, as I smoke it, I'll kind of compare Brian's tasting notes. His are always much more elaborate. That's one of the things that I personally enjoy so much from his club, is the write-ups that he takes the time to really go into detail. And he has some interesting ways of describing flavors, including on this one. I was cracking up because he mentions on it that it reminded him of a black leather belt that he bought. So I thought that was funny. Anyway, it's entertaining and fun. So here we go. I did a little straight cut on that. So the pre-lit draw is interesting. I actually pick up a fruity, kind of a berry notation. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, very fun. Probably not the right word. Fun's kind of a weird way to describe that, but I guess because I don't necessarily get that berry burst of cold draw flavor from very many cigars. So kind of cool. Got to get your kicks where you can, right? I like the simplicity of the band. It has a retro feel to it. Kind of simple again, but I like it. It's also noted on there that if you do happen to see this cigar, because you can also find this one apparently in some brick and mortars, that the band might look different. So if you do see some Blackbird cigars, you might want to go ahead and read them. They may or may not have the Idalia 108, and it might have a different band. So ooh, that's nice. That's a charred oaky leather sweetness. First thing that comes to mind. Ooh, that's a nice amount of spice too. Beautiful, hits the tip of your tongue, kind of lingers there for a minute. Mixture of a black and cayenne pepper initially. Not super strong, but it's notable. Really nice. And I'm regretting right now, I meant to brew a cup of coffee and pair that, because that's one of the recommendations that Brian made. And it's always a recommendation of mine to have your cigar with a nice, freshly brewed, freshly roasted cup of coffee. So I was actually going to pair this one with the Tasa's Day Drinker, because that's kind of like my go-to for most of the Maduro versions, especially with a Mexican San Andres in particular. I thought would go really nicely with that Day Drinker. So now I kind of messed that up and didn't, just completely forgot until right now. So anywho, so let's see what Brian says. It talks about the black leather belt, which, you know, specifically a black leather belt, I don't know how to describe that taste, or rather how to compare what a, let's say, vintage brown leather something would taste like in comparison to a black leather belt. But it's hilarious. So he got Barnyard. This is on the foot, of course, before. So he's getting the smell of wood and leather. The cold draw, he got almond, herbs, and leather. What did I say? I got berry on the cold draw and a little bit of the leather. And now, so on lighting it, he picked up leather, charred wood, and slight pepper. So that was pretty similar. I think that's what I said. I said definitely leather. My combination of pepper to me was black and cayenne, you know, that red and black pepper kind of mixed together for that really flavorful pepper. But this one, you know, I make comments about the pepper and the differences as far as sensation and flavor. This one's actually giving both sensation of a spice and the flavor of pepper. So really nice. What else did I mention that it said? Now I'm confusing my notes in his. I'm of course kind of doing this somewhat blind in the sense that I don't have notes pre-done. This is the first time that I smoked it, being that it's the only one that I have. And that's kind of also not my typical, I think I've gone over this a few times, where normally when I do a cigar review, I have, at the very least, I've smoked it in the past. More times than not, I try to smoke a couple before I actually do a full-on, you know, filming review of that cigar, so that I have, you know, some fresh notes, and I do write those notes down and kind of go off of that, as well as give you what I'm getting right away. But this one is just being, you know, the only one that I have, so I'm just kind of going through it. Now it's funny because I can actually feel the spice. I haven't taken a puff in what, 30, 45 seconds, maybe a minute, and I can still feel the spice kind of resonating there on the inner part of the lips and the tip of the tongue. So very nice. And I did remember to turn my fan off, so I don't know if you can see it fully, but here in person it's letting out a lot of smoke. Very flavorful smoke at that. Nice aroma to it, very inviting. This has a very familiar taste to it. I try not to compare, you know, this cigar tastes like that cigar kind of a thing, but I'm just gonna venture out there and guess that if Hochi's growing it and took any part in blending, there's probably some, you know, similar tobaccos that can be found in some other very frequently smoked cigars. So again, it has kind of a familiar feel to it, if that makes sense. For those of you who smoke a lot of different cigars and maybe have that lean towards more Dominican, this definitely notates a traditional Dominican feel to it, with that spice, with that robustness to it. But then again, you're getting the different components, and I'm sure as we get into this, I'm guessing that with that Mexican San Andres, you get that nice sweetness to it. And again, just kind of like those different components of spice, sweet, and then of course that leather is really, really pronounced. So very good. I'm gonna go ahead and get into it a little bit more, as I always do, and check back in for the second third. Back in about the halfway point on the Black Bird Idalia 108. Flavors are really good, actually. Picking up a combination of still getting some of the spice, more so black pepper than the initial combination of the black pepper and the cayenne. So straight black pepper still has a really nice leathery presence about it. I also pick up a little hint of a coffee bean in there, as well as a nice chocolate note, and more so on the milk chocolatey side, as there's also some creaminess mixed into the overall smoke itself. So kind of a creamier chocolate versus that slightly bitter dark chocolate. It's more along the lines of a milk chocolate, sweeter, and then has that creamier essence about it. So very enjoyable. I'm also impressed with the way it's smoking. Very cool, easy, taking nice open draws to it, and the burn line is pretty spot on. The ash itself held on a good amount, and then of course it broke off, and trying, you know, to continue with that ash. In fact, I think it's fallen off twice already, but it's still, you know, solid chunks of ash, and then again that burn line is really nice, and the overall draw itself is easy and effortless without being, you know, overly open. It's just that nice, you know, middle of the road spot with the draw. So very nice. I'm going to continue to smoke it down a little bit more and check in one last time with the final third. So back for the last little bit here, and literally it's the last little bit. It's pretty much smoked it down to the nub. Had a really nice ash going from that last time. Fell off, I don't know, a little while ago. And this is what we're left with. Flavor-wise, really, I would say the sweetest, the best, the kind of flavor came at this last little bit. Been a mixture of sweetness and spice. Kind of, to me, it's more of that traditional, what you would expect from that Mexican San Andres, which happens to be my favorite wrapper. Love it. Very flavorful. You get a little bit of an earthier sense in this last little bit, although it's really in the background of the black pepper spice, which has been there throughout the entire stick, the leather, which has definitely been present. The coffee that I picked up in the second third, and that chocolatey, creamy chocolate, the coffee kind of went away. I still get the chocolate. However, there is something a little more of that. I kind of tend to lean towards the word like refreshing, in the sense that you pick up kind of a minty something, but it's definitely, you know, a mixture of those flavors. I also got a little bit of a baking spice towards the end, but certainly a sweeter element came into play, again, more so on the lines of chocolate, creamy, just really nice combination of flavors, especially towards this last little bit. And it smoked very well. It's getting a little bit warm, you know, at this point. It's pretty close to the end here, but I liked it. You can tell. So going back to the original notes here that Brian came up with, You know, I did get, for the most part, I was looking through, and it's funny because I mentioned the black pepper and the cayenne, and I think I saw that on here after, I want to say, yeah, after I was reading further along, and it did say, he did mention black and red pepper for every few puffs. So we did share that in there. He also mentions breads and cocoa. Again, I'm calling it more of like just like a milk chocolatey, you know, feel to it. He said, he mentioned a little bit of an earthiness and faint sweetness. So to me, I got more sweetness on it. We both agreed on the leather, certainly. I don't think anyone would disagree that it does not have leather. It certainly does have a nice leathery presence to it. He also mentioned vanilla, earth pepper, cigar with cream, blah, 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 very balanced. It is very balanced. So chocolate cream, dried herbs. I didn't necessarily get the dried herbs. He mentions a menthol cocoa thing, which is like a mint chocolate chip. So I would say, yes, I did pick out the mint, and I got like the chocolatey note. Not necessarily them together, but even though you can taste them both, they're separate to me. They're not like a mint chocolate candy kind of a thing. It's more of like you can taste a little bit of the mint, kind of a refreshing feel to it, freshness, if you will, and then you can get the sweetness from the chocolate. But it's not super in your face. It's definitely not, you know, don't confuse that with like a sweetened, infused type of sweetness. It's just that subtle notation of the chocolate. But yeah, he also mentioned cola. So cola is an interesting, I didn't necessarily pick that up, but again, Brian does wonderful descriptions. If nothing else, order for those descriptions because they're just super amazing. But again, they come with equipped with the wonderful cigars to go along with that. So I've enjoyed this cigar. I'd love to hear from all of you. If you are members, if you received this in your box, did you smoke it yet? What did you think about it? If you're not a member, if you maybe ordered a couple separately somewhere else or through Privada, because I'm not sure where else you could find these. I know you may be able to find them in some brick and mortars floating around, but again, just love to hear your feedback, your thoughts. If you're planning on smoking it, all of those wonderful comments that you guys always add. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, for smoking with me, for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, and I hope to see you very soon. Cheers.